Hey everyone, Gurky the Gacha Grinder here, bringing you another Lost Sword video. So in this video, we're going to talk about the re-roll targets, the units that you want to aim for to try to make your beginner's experience as best as possible with the best possible progression outcome. So we're going to get in here and we're going to talk about some of the characters. There's 4 main re-roll targets that you're going to be going for, and 1 honorable mention. Okay? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Tiamat. Tiamat is hands down the highest DPS in the game. Highest damage, like, bar none. She's in a tier of her own. So we're going to go through and we're going to look at her kit. And then I'm going to read off the description that Pride One has on their website. So the first skill, reduce this cooldown of active skills to 0 when using this skill and obtain a buff that increases the final damage output of active skills. Inflict damage all enemies. Effect 1 applies a buff. Skill will change. That changes it to 0. Active skill damage is increased by 20%. Now this is level 3. Cooldown of 34 seconds. Active skill inflicts damage forward all enemies. If there are 3 or more targets, inflict 6% additional damage. First buff, or first passive, critical chance 12%, critical damage 56%, and Eclipse passive 56% attack, ignore damage reduction 9%. She is an absolute beast. So Pride One says, Tiamat stands as the undisputed apex damage dealer, dominating with raw power. This holy unit leverages significant passive self-buffs to scale her output. Her ultimate unleashes massive damage, enables 0 cooldown active skill spamming for a duration. These rapidly cast active skills feature high scaling with damage increasing to against 3+ targets. Her passives further amplify her lethality, boosting crit rate, crit damage, attack, and ignore damage defense. She is absolutely going to be your main re-roll target. There are other tanks and healers that you can use, but ideally with the amount of stuff that you get to start the game, there's no reason why you can't re-roll for 2 or 3 of them, or even all 4. So the second unit we're going to talk about is Lancelot. Using Judgment Blade sets the cooldown of Blazing Sword to 1 second, once only. Additionally, the ultimate skill is converted to Judgment Blade that plays without a cutscene. Inflicts damage all enemies. Alters the remaining cooldown. Skill will change. Blazing Sword, the active. When Blazing Sword is activated, recover HP and gain a buff that increases ultimate skill's final damage. This buff can stack up to 3 times. Just so you know, Lancelot is a tank. She also does very, very high damage for a tank. Inflicts damage equal to 10% of HP. So obviously you're going to want to scale her hit points. Targets all enemies. Self heals for 5%. Ultimate skill damage increased by 20%. 10-second cooldown. Passive 1. Basic attacks and Blazing Sword reduce the cooldown of Judgment Blade. Critical hit rate also increased. So reduces the remaining cooldown by ultimate by 1 second. Increases the target's critical hit chance by 0.25% stack. Max 20 stacks. So what is that? It's 5% total. Passive 2. The potency of equipment main stats is increased by 80%. Applies only to equipment with item level 999 or lower. This is where she gets bonkers, especially if you put a ton of HP gear, change the stats to HP. She can rival some of the other DPSs out there. So we're going to go down here and read Lancelot. Lancelot is another Radiance Knight that serves as a drain tank. All her scalings are based off her max HP, which makes her innately tanky. Her kit revolves around using her ultimate to reset her active skill cooldowns to 1 second, which is a skill that will also do massive amounts of damage while healing herself. Her passives reduce her ultimate cooldown each hit and increases the efficiency of her equipped gear's main stats, similar to Ethan's passives. She might be classified as a tank, but don't let that fool you. She can deal a lot of damage and be the main carry in certain lineups. So this is my selection for the second most important unit to reroll for. Number 3 is going to be Galahad. Ultimate. Damage immunity becomes immune for 5 seconds. All allies, archer, and wizard classes, range attack 200% for 20 seconds. This is going to be a unit that you're going to want paired with Tiamat, hands down. Greatly increases her Tiamat's damage output. Also good with like Neo-Bedivere and some of the other units as well. Active, damage reduction 12%, duration 10 seconds, cooldown 10 seconds. Active, activates when an enemy attempts to apply a debuff. If resisted, activates upon incapacitation status effect, inflicts damage equal to 570% of attack, all enemies, 1 second cooldown. Passive, increases defense by 30%. So as you can see, her ultimate is where she's going to shine, and the 5 second basically invincibility. Very, very, very good unit. So for Galahad is another meta-defining character that enabled the wizard and archer lineups. She can be used almost everywhere due to the nature of her ultimate skill, which not only increases archer and wizard attack for 20 seconds, but gives damage immunity to the team for an entire 5 seconds, making some of the fights easy through blocking instant big damages. Not only that, she also applies a full uptime damage reduction buff and an increase of defense to the entire team. Her only weakness is that she's a Radiance tank, which makes her weak to a lot of the nature-focused stages all throughout the game. Don't let that fool you. The best way to utilize her, especially on stages that you're having problems with, is to uncheck her active skill and wait for the enemy to get ready to do a powerful attack or their own ultimate, pop it up, and she gives you 100% damage reduction for everything. Next unit, the 4th unit in this list we're going to talk about, is Dian Cecht, whatever her name is. Alright. Apply buff. All allies knight classes. Melee attack 80%, additional damage 15%. All allies recover HP equal to caster's attack 5% every 1 second. So like most all healers, you're going to want to build her as tanky as you can, but you want to prioritize attack. She is the meta unit if you're running Galahad and Lancelot. My favorite to use her with is Tiamat and Neo-Bedivere, because Neo-Bedivere, for whatever reason, out-heals every other healer in the game, which we're going to get to her in a second. Light's Embrace, active skill, all allies excluding the caster, creates a shield that blocks damage equal to 120% of the caster's attack, damage reduction 2%. This comes in extremely handy, especially with Galahad's invulnerability and the other healing that scales out with the other units. Passive. When Dian Cecht performs a basic attack, the ally with the lowest HP is granted sustained healing. Recovers HP equal to the caster's attack 10% every 1 second, duration 5 seconds. She's a moderately good healer, especially with all the skills combined. All allies get critical damage 30% up. Again, you're going to want her on your team with Galahad and Lancelot if that's what you're running. But now we're going to talk about an honorable mention, especially since it's quote-unquote new unit, and the banner is currently up, is Neo-Bedivere. Okay, this is not necessarily a reroll target, especially with Galahad on banner right now. But Neo-Bedivere, her healing is top-notch, like the best in my opinion. Alright, grants all allies immunity to crowd control for 3 seconds. Active skill becomes instant cast with no casting animation, 5 second cooldown. Also grants a buff that increases final damage dealt by her active skill. Inflicts damage for all enemies. Root cannot take any actions. This is very helpful, especially with Tiamat. Passive, critical chance 50%, 88% attack buff. Guardian Knight, single ally, recovers HP equal to 10% of damage inflicted. And because the target with the lowest HP. because she puts out so much damage. I mean, not Tiamat level. Her healing is absolutely insane. And just for shits and giggles, I can't beat this stage, but I want to show you the amount of damage and the amount of healing that goes on, even though I'm going to die. Alright. Heal given. Look at her. Out healing everybody. Now, damage dealt, she is completely maxed out going up with Tiamat. But yeah, look at that. I mean, she does do a lot of damage. Tiamat is much higher damage, but you also have to take into consideration the fact that I have Neo-Bedivere completely maxed out. Oh, and she just popped off too. Look at the healing. So you can absolutely substitute a healer for Neo-Bedivere in certain maps. I mean, and there are certain stages where you might have to have 2 healers, and then if you have Neo-Bedivere on top of it, you're almost guaranteed to push through. Anyway, that's the reroll target guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.